Schedule My Rent enables each person on a lease to have their own login ID where they can see what is due, make payments, request maintenance, get insurance, and other things. If there are multiple people on a lease, each person can see what is due and make payments, but they can't see each other's personal information like bank accounts. I will be walking you through the different sections of the screen. This is the tenant screen. From the left menu bar, the tenant can select their dashboard view, select which lease they want to look at if they're on multiple leases, add maintenance requests, and add multiple bank accounts. There are tabs along the top of the screen where the tenant can select the Summary tab, recurring payments, maintenance, documents, history, rental details, notifications, and insurance. Some tabs may not be shown to the tenant, depending if you are using the feature or not. For example, if you have maintenance requests turned off, the tenant will not see this tab or maintenance on the left menu bar. I'm going to start on the Summary view, which shows tenants what items are due. You can see that the next item is due on June 1st, 2024. This is rent for $1,000 and internet for $100, for a total of $1,100. If the tenant is using a phone or tablet, the same information is available. A high percentage of tenants only use a phone. In this example, a tenant can pay online with either a bank account, credit card, or debit card. A tenant can also pay using cash at any of the 30,000 MoneyGram locations, which includes Walmart and CVS Pharmacy. On the lease, you can turn on or off the different payment types that are available to tenants. If you turn an option off, that payment option won't be shown to the tenant. When the tenant pays online, they can click to pay with a bank account or with their credit or debit card. If the tenant setups up more than one bank account, they can select which bank account they would like to use. After selecting, they can click on Next Rent to pay the full amount on the due date. If you have roommates on the lease, there will be an additional option for the tenant to pay only their portion of the rent. If the tenant wants to pay a different amount or on a different date, they can click on Other and select a different amount and a different payment date. On the lease, if you limit partial payments or future dated payments, then the tenant's options will be limited. The tenant then clicks the Pay button. The tenant then sees that the payment was added and there is nothing currently due in this example. If the tenant made a mistake, they can click the trash can icon to remove the payment if it is before our daily cutoff time, which is 4 p.m. Mountain Time. If the tenant wants to pay with cash, they need to provide 3 things to the clerk at the MoneyGram location. First, that they are doing a bill pay to schedule my rent 16447. Second, their name, which must be exactly as shown on their screen. Lastly, their account number, which is also shown on their screen. If you have multiple roommates on a lease, each person will be able to see their own name and account number, which are different for each person so that we know who made the payment. If your tenant doesn't have access to a computer or phone to see their instructions, you can go to your unit view. Then click on the tenant status link. Then click on MoneyGram instructions for the appropriate tenant. You can then see their instructions, which you can give to your tenant. If the tenant needs to find a MoneyGram location, they click on the Find a MoneyGram location button. They then type in their zip code or city to see a map showing all of the MoneyGram locations in their area. I'm switching to the Recurring tab now, which allows tenants to automatically pay their rent, which some people call autopay. They click on the Recurring slider to turn Recurring on. They then select which bank account they want to use. If there is only one tenant on the lease, they can enter the maximum authorized amount. This could be the rent amount, or it could be a larger amount to automatically cover additional expenses that you might add each month, such as a utility bill. Any additional charges will be automatically included in the payment, up to the total amount the tenant authorized. If no additional expenses were added, then the payment will only be the rent due. If the total due is more than the authorized amount, the tenant will need to increase the authorized amount before the payment date, add an additional payment to cover the difference, or turn off Recurring and add a payment for the total amount. If you have roommates on your lease, then the payment amount will be the amount they authorised and won't change if additional charges were added. If you added additional charges to the lease, tenants will need to either adjust the authorised amount, add an additional payment to cover the difference, or turn off recurring and add a payment for the total amount they want to pay. Tenants can turn their recurring payments option on or off anytime. I'm switching to the Maintenance tab now, where the tenant can see a list of all their previous maintenance items. If they click on New Request, then they can start a new maintenance request. They then select the type of problem, for example, plumbing. The specific issue, for example, toilet issues. They then enter a short summary of the issue. They may also indicate if this is an emergency, add additional details, and enter a picture or a short video of the issue. Finally, they can use this checkbox to give permission for you to enter the unit to make repairs when they are not present. They then click the Request Maintenance button. You will receive an email that a new maintenance request was added and work the item from your maintenance screen. If you need the maintenance request email to go to additional people, such as your maintenance person, you add other people and their email from the left menu bar under Setup Contacts. Then, under Setup Notifications, you can select from several different maintenance request types, which can be sent to this new contact. I'm switching to the Documents tab now. In the top section, the tenant can see all documents that you have shared with them. In this example, the landlord has shared a signed lease agreement. The tenant can click on the View icon to view the document, or can click on the Download icon to download it. In the bottom section, you can see all the documents that the tenant has shared with you. The tenant can click the Share New Document button to add a new document. You can select if you receive an email when a document is shared with you from your Setup Notification screen. I'm switching to the History tab now. This shows all of the history for this lease. The tenant can click on the Columns box to change what columns are shown, the Download icon to download the history, and the Gear icon to save their preferences. The tenant can also click on one of the Receipt icons to see a receipt for a payment. I'm switching to the Rental Details tab now, which shows an overview of the lease terms. If you have roommates on the lease, each tenant can enter their portion of the rent at the bottom of the screen. Then, when a tenant is paying rent on the Summary tab, they will see their portion of the rent as an option they can select. I'm switching to the Notifications tab now. Tenants can select which notifications they would like to receive by using the checkboxes to turn each option on or off. I'm switching to the Insurance tab, which is the last tab. Tenants can obtain an insurance quote and pay for it by clicking on the Get Insurance box. If the tenant already has insurance, they can click on the Add Policy box to enter the information about their policy. They enter the policy details and attach a copy of the policy here. You are able to see everything they entered by selecting Renter's Insurance from your left menu bar. Please watch the Renter's Insurance video for additional information. And that's it. Tenants can easily see what is due, make payments, and many other things. Please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.